real slow, but I'm gonna come out with some fire videos for you guys. So in this video, I'm gonna be giving my predictions for UFC Fight Night in Shanghai, China, the indoor stadium in the Zhuhai district in China. Okay, so I was going through this fight card looking at, some fighters, and I was like, why is there so many Asian names? I was like, this has to be somewhere in Asia. And sure enough, it's in China. So I don't know when the last fight night they had in China was, but I'm pretty sure they had one scheduled and they canceled it, or something like that happened. But I remember them talking about a China card and it never ended up materializing. Maybe I'm tripping, but this is a solid fight night. This is a really, really good fight night. You have Johnny Walker versus Shang Ming Yang, Brian Ortega and Aljamain Sterling, and then Sergey Pavlovich and Waldo Cortez Acosta. So those are the main fights that kind of carry this card. And then you have Chinese motherfuckers versus mainly Chinese motherfuckers. Michael Pereira, Mikel, they call him Michael, right? No, Michelle. I knew it was something weird. Michelle Pereira versus Kyle Dawkins. There's this guy's name that's just Yeza. No last name, just Yeza. So that's pretty interesting. Zhao Long. You know what? I'm gonna have a little segment of this video where I just try to pronounce all these crazy ass foreign names. But yeah, I hope you guys have been doing good. Hope you guys' lives have been going well. We're just getting done with summer now, almost. So yeah, I hope you guys have been having a good summer, doing everything you want to do. Go outside, whatever it is. So yeah, I also have a little boxed water that I'm gonna be making some sounds with. As much as I remember to, it's just gonna be scattered in the video, but it makes some pretty good tapping sounds, guys. I was literally gonna recycle this. I was throwing it away, and I was like, wait, hold on. Oh shit, I'm so sorry, guys. I was like, wait, hold on. Started tapping on it a little bit, and I was like, I could use that in a video. Because in all my other videos, I was just doing hand sounds or typing sounds or something like that. So I'm changing it up on you guys a little bit. I'm giving you guys what y'all have been asking for, which is triggers in the video. So without further ado, let's get into these predictions. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, comment, do all that good stuff, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs out here, and we're getting close. We're getting so close that I can start to taste it a little bit. So I appreciate all the support, and yeah, let's get right into the video. Alright boys, let's get right into these predictions. So a lot of these fighters, these Zhurongs, these Xiaoyis, I don't really know. I've never seen them fight, so I'm not gonna do predictions on the entire card. But I'm just gonna do the main card. Where does the main card start? Okay. But I am gonna go through and I'm gonna try to read all these names. So we got Iran Satibaldiev, I think I said that right, versus DR Nargozai, okay. Then we got Su Young Yu versus Long Xiao, okay, Long Xiao. Then we got Weston Wilson, nice classic American name, you know what I'm saying, versus Xia Yi. And then we have, we know these guys, Michelle Pereira and Kyle Dawkins. Easy. And then we have Shu Rong versus Austin Hubbard. Lonier Kavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. Aizar versus Gage Young. Okay. Then we have, and this is the start of the main card. No. Huh, wait, hold on. Where is this fight on here? Oh, yeah, here we go. Niryaji. Tailaka. I'm gonna skip on that one. That one's giving me problems. Versus Kiefer Crosby. Okay. Then we have Kevin Borjas versus Sue Maderi. I know I've seen that dude fight before, but I forget what his name is. So yeah, that was just my little segment of going through trying to pronounce all these Chinese names. You know, it's a big Asian fight card. I just knew just from looking at it. I was like, this has to be somewhere in Asia. So that's pretty funny. But let's start on the main card. This is the first fight on the main card. So honestly, I'm unfamiliar with these fighters. And this is this dude's first fight in the UFC. He's gotten a lot of wins, only one loss. He's getting a lot of finishes. He has no decision wins in his career, so he's finishing everyone that he's fighting. But like I said, it's his first fight in the UFC. And he's going up against someone who's 0-2 in the UFC, so he lost to Kevin Jousset and he lost to Sam Patterson, both by submission. Alex Oliveira, that's another former UFC fighter, Cowboy, right? Cowboy Oliveira, if I'm not mistaken. I hate how SureDog, I don't know why this website takes so long to load. Okay, fuck it, guys. So, in this fight, I'm gonna go with my boy. I'm gonna go with the dude in his first UFC fight. Like I said, I don't really know either of these fighters a whole lot. But just because he has such a high finish rate, you know, I say he gets it done in front of his home crowd. I think him fighting in front of China will, you know, power his warrior spirit. The CCP is probably like, if you don't win, your family's cooked. Okay, you're cooked. You're going straight back to the. I don't know what goes on in China, but I'm gonna go with Niraji. And if you guys have watched my channel before, you probably know I'm pretty ass with predictions. And yeah, I don't know if that's just me. I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to really lock it in. And I've said before, I want to get a fight card where I get everything right on the main card. Just to kind of, you know, I start to feel like I shouldn't even be making predictions just because they're so ass sometimes, but it is what it is. So the next fight we have Kevin Borjas. I'm familiar with this name. He's had a couple fights in the UFC. Oh, this fight's at flyweight. So he lost to Joshua Van, which honestly, no shame in that. Joshua Van is a beast. And then he lost to Alessandro Costa. Who's 2-2 in the UFC, but he's lost to some pretty good competition. When I'm not really familiar with the fighters, I just try to kind of do MMA math and see who they've beaten, and see who's beaten them. So this guy does not. He's, you know, he's been in the UFC a lot longer, and that's why, like I said, I do recognize name in his face, exactly which fight I saw him in. But yeah, he's been fighting in the UFC for 6 years now. Had a little 3-fight win streak, beat Malcolm Gordon, then lost to Matt Schnell, Tim Elliott, Charles Johnson, and Mitch Raposo. I don't know. This fight's a tough one to call. I'm gonna go with Kevin Borjas. Just because Joshua Van isn't a crazy loss. Alessandro Costa has beat some decent names. Let's see Ronaldo. Lazy boy. So yeah, this dude he beat Ode Osborne. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kevin Borjas. He's just beat better competition. Mudarji. Seems like he's on a bit of a slow streak. He did get a win after 3 losses in a row. But they were all pretty. It was a split decision, so it's not like he got the finish or anything like that. So just for that, I'm gonna go with Kevin Borjas. And then now, boys, we get into the good fights. We get into the crazy fights that really carry this card. And honestly, I have a prediction for this fight night that there will be a lot of banging fights, just because it's in China. They don't get UFC often, and I think all these fighters are really gonna have a chip on their shoulder. These Chinese fighters, at least, they're really gonna want to put on a good showing for their home crowd. So I'm gonna bet that this fight night's gonna be really entertaining. What time is this fight night? Because I thought it was just gonna be a 7 p.m., but obviously it's not. But anyway, so Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Okay, so Sergey Pavlovich, he's taken a couple L's recently. Lost to Volkov, lost to Tom Aspinall, and beat Jairzinho Rozenstruik by decision. And before this, people were really hyping up Pavlovich, saying this dude could, he could reign in the heavyweight division. I don't think anyone really expected him to beat Tom Aspinall, but this dude was on a crazy knockout streak. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knockouts. No, 7 knockouts. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, I'm tripping. Wait. Okay, yeah, that's 6. Jesus Christ. 6 knockouts, all in the first round. A lot of them in the first minute of the fight. So this dude was out here just slugging with people, and what's kind of scary about him is he is a little bit technical. So he's not just out there slugging, throwing crazy. He actually has some technique, and he's able to find his shots, and crazy power. So I didn't see his fight versus Volkov. Honestly, I did see his fight versus Aspinall. That was kind of the peak of when I was into the UFC. And Aspinall, one of them was gonna get knocked out. Excuse me. One of them was gonna get knocked out in that fight. But it just so happened to be Sergey Pavlovich, and Tom Aspinall is definitely, in my opinion, I think he's the most skilled heavyweight that has ever existed. So no shame in losing to him. He just got caught with a right hand. Like I said, I don't know how that Volkov fight played out. But he did come back and beat Jairzinho Rozenstruik, which, isn't a crazy win, but that's a solid win in the division. And he's going up against the Salsa Boy and Waldo Cortez Acosta. So this dude is on a crazy winning streak as well. He lost to Rogerio de Lima, and then he beat Bretsky, Arlovsky, Robelis de Spain, Ryan Spann, Sergey Spivak. So he's looking good out here. I have not seen him fight a whole lot, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too familiar with Waldo Cortez, but he's getting a lot of decisions, which is kind of uncommon in the heavyweight division. Usually when these guys win, they're getting knockouts. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to go with my boy Sergey Pavlovich, just because I've seen more. And, I know what he's capable of. I don't know what Walter Cortez Acosta is capable of, okay? And, his only finish is against Bretsky and Ryan Spann, who, we all know what's going on with Ryan Spann. I think he won his last fight, actually. He did win his last fight, but I just don't think he's that good at heavyweight. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Pavlovich in this fight. I think he's gonna be faster, not faster, but just more powerful, and I think he's actually gonna be able to, catch Cortez Acosta and put him out. So yeah, that's number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Number 3 versus number 6. Yeah. So I think Pavlovich gets it done. And we move on. It should be a good fight, though. It should be a car crash. One of these boys is getting knocked out. So we move on to the next one. We got Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. Right? This is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestling fan's dream. I don't know how many wrestling Jiu-Jitsu fans actually tune into the UFC and stuff like that. But these are both high-level grapplers. That's usually how they finish their fights and how they succeed in their fights, is with the grappling. So this is Aljamain Sterling's 3rd fight up at featherweight. He beat Calvin Kattar, and then he lost to Movsar. But Movsar's the man. He's the number 1 contender. He's gonna get that title shot. So no shame in losing to Movsar. And he's going up against Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega, who lost to Diego Lopez, beat Yair. Got injured in this fight. Volkanovski, so Brian Ortega before Yair, his last really good win was honestly like 7 years ago. I know he looked really good in this fight. He actually had really good stand-up and stuff like that. But he hasn't been his old self, so like I said, both of these guys really excel on the ground. I wonder if in this fight it'll kind of, their grappling will cancel each other's grappling out, and it'll, kind of turn into a stand-up battle. And if that's the case, I kind of sort of favor Brian Ortega, just because Aljamain Sterling, he has a volume when he does strike. At least he does throw a lot of volume. He throws a lot of funky things out there, the Funk Master, right? But he's out there throwing a lot of teeps to the body, a lot of spinning back fists, and he just throws a lot out there. But he's not that powerful. He kind of has these bitter bat shots. And Brian Ortega, his striking is not the best in the world, but he does have some decent boxing that he's shown against TKZ back in the day, kind of against Yair, I guess. But he's no complete slouch on the feet. He can hold his own on the feet. He has decent boxing, so I don't know who wins this fight. This one's pretty tough for me. I really am interested to see how this plays out. Like, I wonder if they are gonna go to the ground, or if they just decide to stand and bang. If they do, I kind of favor Ortega. But yeah, this is a tough one. Actually, this is a tough one to call. It's kind of hard with two grapplers that are going up against each other, because you just don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know who's going to get top position. You don't know who's going to be able to control who. Both of these guys have a wicked submission game. Yeah, this is a tough one. I would not be surprised if any fighter wins. In my heart, I kind of want to say Aljamain. But just for that, just because my heart says Aljamain, I'm actually going to go with Ortega. Okay. I'm going against my gut here, because my gut has let me down quite a bit in these recent videos, so I'm literally going to go with the opposite of what I think, and I'm going to go with Ortega. And like I said, there's no real reason why I chose Aljamain or why I think he's gonna win. It's a really tough fight. These guys are kind of equal a little bit. I think maybe the main thing with Ortega is that he might have a little bit of a size advantage. Aljamain's coming down, or coming up, excuse me, from 135. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ortega. I think Ortega might be able to wrap up a submission. But honestly, I don't know if any of these guys are gonna get submitted. I think it might just be a kind of tit for tat decision. But I do think it will be a close fight. So, yeah, this should be pretty good. And, I know everyone hates grappling, but if it's entertaining grappling where they're really, going for submissions and they're transitioning, I think that's pretty fun to watch. So, should be a good fight. I'm going to go with Ortega. I'm going to go against my gut here. So, we'll see what happens. Watch this be the only fight where, I'm kind of iffy and the fighter I choose actually wins. So, we move on to the main event. Johnny Walker, looking all freaky in here, versus Ming Yang Zhang. With a big old black head, nice, very handsome, very, very handsome Chinese man. And I've seen a couple of this guy's highlights, but I haven't actually seen him fight. This is like right around when I stopped watching the UFC. But yeah, dude's insane. Getting a lot of KOs. He's 27, so he's still fairly young. I think he's younger than Johnny Walker. Yeah, he's younger than Johnny Walker. And Johnny Walker, man, he hasn't been looking too good. So I just remember his loss versus Jamal Hill, where he had like a goofy ass knockout. He got hit with a right overhand over the head, and he had like a Looney Tunes cartoon style fall. And overall, this guy had a lot of hype coming up. People were talking about him giving John Jones problems and stuff like that, just because he's so freakishly athletic. And he can do a lot of crazy things, flying knees, spinning attacks, and he is very fast and explosive, but he's just not able to, I don't know, there's just something missing there. I don't know if it's his defense, if it's what it is, but, I think he kind of shows he doesn't have the best defense, especially against, in this fight with Jamal Hill. I think he kind of left his hand down a little bit. He got clocked. So, Iwan Kutalaba, Paul Craig, Anthony Smith, those are all okay wins, but they're not, top level fighters where I'm like, okay, you're in the top 10, These guys are all kind of washed, in my opinion. So, he also his last fight, he got KO'd from Volkan Oezdemir, which, Volkan Oezdemir honestly is a solid fighter. I like Volkan Oezdemir. I think Volkan Oezdemir is a very underrated fighter. No one really talks about him, but I just think he's entertaining. He just throws hands. He has a lot of power, but no one ever, I don't know, he's just such a fighter. He's one of those fighters that just, everyone's like, oh, Volkan's fighting, right? But this guy actually fought, what's his name? He fought Daniel Cormier. He's fought some good guys, and he's still hanging in there. He beat Bogdan Guskov, Johnny Walker. So, I love this guy. Oezdemir's got to be my favorite gatekeeper in the entire UFC. But anyway, back to the prediction. So I just kind of, talked about Johnny Walker a little bit. Let's go into Ming Yang Zhang. So, fighting out of Qingdao, Shandong, China. So he's undefeated in the UFC, 4-0. Beat George Tokos. Beat Brendan Ribeiro. Beat Osman Diaz. And those are all kind of out of the ranking fighters. But he did knock out Anthony Smith, which is a good win. Just recently, I think he retired Anthony Smith. So all these knockouts coming in the first round as well, which is pretty impressive. So I think this is, Anthony Smith is a okay fighter, but I just think when Zhang fought him, he was definitely a little washed up. So I think this is the first real test to see if Ming Yang Zhang belongs in the top 10, and to see if he is an elite level fighter. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he's a stand-up guy, and yeah. So ultimately, I am gonna go with Ming Yang Zhang. I think Johnny Walker has a lot of potential. Like I said, he's very athletic, very explosive, but I just think he does a lot of things in his fights that are, he makes a lot of mistakes, and he puts himself out there to be caught. And yeah, I think this is another one of those fights where I'm kind of fence-sitting a little bit, not as much as Aljamain and Ortega, but I think if Johnny Walker won, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But logically, I have to go with Zhang. Zhang's the fresher, younger fighter. He's taking less damage. Johnny Walker's gotten knocked out a bunch of times. Doesn't have the best defense. So I have to go with Zhang in this one. But I'm not ruling out the fact or the chance that Johnny Walker goes crazy and hits him with a flying knee. That's always possible when you're talking about Johnny Walker. But I just can't predict it. I can't predict it in this video. So to go over my predictions, I got Nuriyaji. I'm not even going to try to say this name. I got this guy. I got the two Chinese guys. Or no, I got the Chinese guy. I got Kevin Borjas. I got Sergey. I got Brian Ortega. And I got Johnny Walker. So how much you want to bet this fight card? It's going to be the complete opposite or damn near close. So we'll see. I'm trying to tighten up my predictions a little bit. It sucks when you make predictions and then you're watching the fight night and you're like, oh, I got that wrong. Oh, I got that wrong. So, but it'll come with experience. It'll come with experience and practice. So that's what we're doing today. So yeah, really good fight night. I'm excited for this fight night. And then the other fight nights too. In general, we have some really good cards coming up. This is a good fight night. Oh wow, Rosas versus Font. I did not know that was coming up. I did not know. That makes me a little scared for Raul Rosas. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if he's ready for that. He's getting good wins, but Rob Font's like the ultimate, what do you call it? Prospect destroyer. I mean, this guy is a really solid gatekeeper. His last fight against Gene Matsumoto, I was there live in action in Seattle. Man, I think maybe they're pushing Raul a little bit too fast right now. I'm scared for him in that fight. I don't want to see Raul get real hurt, But then we got Oldberg versus Reyes. That's an okay fight night. Not the best, but still decent. And then, boom, Ankalaev versus Pereira. Boom, Oliveira versus Fiziev. Boom, Derrida versus Hernandez. Yeah, so they did book this fight. Boom, Aspinall versus Gonzo. We have some really, really good fight nights to look forward to. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.